I'm trying to tell the people something. Today we are doing a special project. We are going to cook a whole lamb underground in a barbacoa pit. Let me show you how it's done. A while ago I posted a question in the community tab on YouTube asking you guys, what do you want to see? And you guys responded. You told me to dig a hole in the ground and cook a whole lamb in it. Well, I ordered the lamb. Sourcing and cooking meat is my specialty, and I selected a beautiful Dutch lamb, and this thing is super heavy, super big. And nice and fat. Look at this beauty. It's been hung for 14 days. It's completely ripened and it's ready for the pit. You might think that this is a barbacoa video, but really it's not, because people all around the world have been cooking for this since centuries. It's something that they do in the Middle East, in Morocco, Tunisia, in all of those countries they're still cooking underground with whole lambs. They do it in India, they do it in Indonesia, they do it all around the world. And the reason why they do it, because it's one of the world's first ovens. So when you guys asked me to cook a whole lamb underground, we took it seriously. We built this epic underground barbecue pit. To make a pit, you need to start digging first. I started digging until I was 1.20 meters deep. We squared up the hole and dropped in a whole lot of concrete. We spread the concrete out, made it nice and smooth, and then we had to let it dry. I thought it would be done in half an hour. Appears concrete needs to dry for at least, well, they told me 6 weeks, but I gave them 4 days. So after 4 days it was time to start building up the walls. I got a little help from a carpenter apprentice and we started putting this thing together brick by brick. And if you know a thing or two about the Netherlands, you know it rains a lot. So we needed to have the outside walls above ground. So if it starts raining during the cook, it doesn't drown the meat. Now that our hole is done, we fixed up a nice steel plate, welded on some horseshoes, and the lid is done. This underground pit is a true work of art, if I say so myself. It is a beautiful pit, but it's a little too clean for my taste. So let's fire it up and get it dirty. I started by putting in a couple of fire starters, and I built a little fire of scrap wood from our barn build. Lit up the fire starter with my trusty flamethrower. And once we had a good fire going, I added logs of beech tree. Beech tree is perfect for this process because it gives us a lot of big embers. Now we're going to let this fire burn until our pit is nice and hot. In the meantime, we are going to focus on the food. As the base of our food, we have a big tray full of veggies. We got some celery, some carrots, some leek, onions, jalapenos, tomatoes, and of course, some potatoes. The first step is to mix all of the veggies up, spread them out so they're nice and cozy. Now we'll add 2 liters of condensed beef stock, and to that we'll add another 2 liters of water. Yes, that's a lot of water and a lot of broth. But imagine that big plate going onto the embers, straight onto the fire. What would happen if we don't put anything at the bottom? All of these beautiful veggies would just burn into oblivion. Now, with the water and beef broth, it will start bubbling and will start steaming and basically steam cook our vegetables and our meat. Let's get out the star of the show again. Look at that lamb and look at all that fat. It's going to render down and it's going to be delicious. Now I want this lamb to fit into the tray, so we gotta do something about these legs. This lamb has been dry aged in a hanging position, which means that the legs are sturdy and they are in the wrong direction. So I need to take my knife and figure out if we can bend them in the forward position. Apparently this is not going to work, so I'm going to cut all the way through and take them off and put them in the tray separately. The main body of the lamb is going into the tray and we're going to make make a little room in the tray so the lamb sits nice and firmly. When everything is packed well, it's time to wrap the whole package in aluminum foil. This is extra thick aluminum foil. This is not your typical household foil, so make sure you get some extra thick stuff. Wrap it real good because we need the lamb to steam. This is a two-man job. Morrison is offering his assistance as long as he is fed. Now that the wood has burned down into embers, I want to create an equal bed. So once we lay that tray on the bottom, it's completely flat. Before I'm going to put all the food in, I want to make sure I build up a nice layer of sand on the edge. The sand is going to act like a sealant. Once we put that metal plate on it, it's going to seal off any heat getting away from the pit. In most countries, they would do it differently. They will put a hole in the ground, put the plate on and cover it with sand. But the problem here is, if it starts raining, you got a pit full of water. Our pit is hot, it's ready for the food. We got everything prepared, so now it's time to do the most scary bit. Lower the food into the pit without dropping it. And I can tell you, it's quite heavy. So Morrison, I'm gonna need some help. I'll give you the best rake we've got. This is scary.
This is really scary.
If you drop it, Morrison.
Yeah, I know. Don't put pressure on it.
Keep it level. Yes. A little bit more to your side. Yes. Perfect. Woo!
That was quite easy.
This was not as bad as I expected.
No.
If this would have dropped, this is a 300 euro lamb.
No, I'm glad you're saying it now.
All right, let's put the plate on. Now we're going to put sand on top. This sand is for insulation, so just to retain the heat.
Does it need to be completely covered?
A little bit. Well, not the edges, because it's sticking over at both ends. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, this looks about right. See you guys tomorrow morning. Hey, good morning guys. Well, as you guys can see, we got completely different weather than what we had yesterday. I got my Aloha outfit back in the closet again, and it's time to pull that lamb out. By the way, I'm so happy that we raised the pit out of the ground, because out of the blue, there they were. Thunderstorms hitting the Netherlands. So be smart, if you live in the Netherlands, raise your pit a little bit so the water can't pour in. Let's check to see if this is still warm. Well, it's warm to the touch, but it's not hot anymore. We can take all of this sand off, open up the pit and get out our beautiful lamb. Look at the pit, man. Looks like the fire's all died down. We can still feel that residual heat. The walls, they're still warm to the touch. Come on, Morrison, let's get this thing out. This feels really scary. The moment of truth. If this didn't went right. What if it's all burned? If I put my hands on it, it's still warm, so it will be good eating for lunch. The jalapenos, for instance, they still feel hard. They should have been soft. It should have been fall apart. Everything, when I touched it, it should have been like, if I pulled it, it should be falling apart like it's nothing, disintegrate. But this is so way undercooked.
No way.
Yes. I'm trying to tell the people something. This is the moment where I start telling you guys that it's okay to fail and it's part of the learning process. But really, if I look at myself, I still get that feeling. It's so horrible when this thing happened. You know, at that time, you know, I want to tell you guys that it's okay, but I really don't feel okay.
So I thought the lamb was going to be overcooked because it was going so hard, the fire. It was so warm, so heavy.
I spent so much money, so much time to create that video, to create that cook, and then failing like that.
It's a shame. These things happen, but what you gonna do about it? I was ready to eat the lamb and I was thinking, man, I'm so hungry.
Luckily I was able to save the lamb, put it on my gas grill, because the Napoleon Prestige Pro 500 was the only size on which I could get that gigantic tray and still cook it. So me and the family had a big lamb feast, and of course we had some in the freezer and still have. Even though I knew how to fix it and I could eventually have a great meal out of it, I still got it. I wanted to have so much success with the pit. I really wanted it that bad. I prepped and I studied and I did everything right. But in the end, I didn't have the knowledge and the skills to do it. But I learned something, and that is that I didn't have enough energy built up in that pit. I had too much cold fluid in my tray, and these two things are the basis to the failure. So the next time I'm going to be cooking in a pit, I'm definitely going to change that. You guys better be on the lookout for another pit cooking video. I still hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, then leave us a big thumbs up and a comment down below. And while you're at it, thank our patrons for sponsoring this video and making me able to cook something like this, which is an expensive thing to do. So my special thanks is always there. They're in the video. They're at the scroll down in this video, and give the patrons a big thumbs up this time. Hope to see you guys next time. Until then, eet smakelijk and keep on grilling. Right, doggy?
Hey, kijk eens. Wat zeg je ervan? Wat zeg je ervan?
Next time we're going to cook. What are we going to do? Lamb cook? What are we going to do next time? Beef? What do you prefer? Rabbit? You want rabbit? Rabbit? Yes, rabbit? Oh, yes, rabbit.